Hello and welcome to another episode of Telling Everybody Everything. I'm not sure whether or not you can hear Bobby's passive-aggressive leaf blower. It needs to be done now. The leaves need to be blown. I don't think you can hear it. And if you can, I mean, that is the nature of telling everybody everything. We have some family background noise sometimes, and I think it's part of the charm of the podcast. We did not have Bobby with us this week, and I love my husband. I don't want to sound ungrateful. It was our 6-year anniversary over the weekend while he was gone, but he flew to Canada just to do some family appearances before the baby comes. There are some health issues, God willing, that everyone is navigating safely in Canada and will hopefully have the best outcome. But they need Bobby sometimes. They need Bobby to make an appearance, lift everyone's spirits with his hunky good looks and sparkling personality. And so I sent him. I said, you have to go there because we're having a baby soon, and then you won't be able to go there for a while because you will be needed here. And then it will be Christmas, and it's very difficult to get to Canada during the coldest and busiest time. So I was like, you gotta go. And he does love us too. I mean, anyone struggles to be away from their small children. It sounds amazing on paper. You'd be like, oh my gosh, a flight by myself, movies and drinks by myself, asleep by myself, laying in, hanging around with adults that I used to have conversations with, and now all of those conversations get interrupted. You know, it sounds nice, but put into practice, we always get cold feet about leaving the children and each other. But I'm glad Bobby can experience that. I said to him, I want you to go. And I think he took offense to that a little bit. He's like, well, what do you mean you want me out of here? And I said, well, for a start, yes, because I do think that you need a break from male energy sometimes. And maybe that's just like my experience, but even growing up, my dad's energy was more hostile than my mother's, and Bobby's energy sometimes just feels a little bit heavy for me. Like if a football game is on, he's stressed about that, and I don't know, and everybody has the right to get like moody sometimes or whatever, but I think that everyone else in the house gets a break from my energy because I go to work, I go on tour. I do have to spend weekends and maybe up to 3 or 4 sleeps, depending on the project that I'm working on. I do have to spend that time away from my family. And I'm glad for Bobby to get a sense of like how that sucks. I'm sure that he imagines me lollygagging around the streets of Manchester. Well, that's not the case. And I don't know if the stay-at-home parent appreciates the solace and just the peace of being able to put a podcast on and clean your own kitchen. I'm kind of in a nesting situation right now. Anyway, I want to be alone in my own house. That's not to say that I want to be alone forever in my own house. I don't love my husband, but like everybody needs some space in their own house. And I don't get that. So I have had a magnificent little few days of a break. And then you remember each other fondly, whatever. Bobby's back today. And so it wasn't very long. He left on Thursday. Friday, I'm not sure what we did. I think I went to work. Saturday, I said to Violet, and Violet has been a dream. I think that first of all, I think girls are maturing earlier. I'm hearing from a lot of my friends like 10 years old, 11 years old girls are starting their periods, and they fall out with their mothers and they get moody and they get cranky. And I understand that. I mean, I feel moody and cranky right now. One of the dogs, and I don't know who, threw up 4 separate times this morning as I was trying to clean with small children. Is like shoveling in a snowstorm. It's very difficult getting everybody fed and out the door and having the house clean. And if you've seen our house on Instagram, Bobby and I both keep it like very clean as much as we can with small children. We have a white sofa. So the dogs were sick everywhere. I was just stressed today, and I thought to myself, ooh, I don't know what hormone is kicking in, but like I'm an extra bit of a bitch. And I remember what it was like to hit puberty and feel angry. And so I think we fell out with our mothers when we were like 15, 16, but girls are falling out with their mothers now when they're like 10, 11, 9 in some cases. And Violet never had that. She was just always nice to me. And then now she's at a new school doing A-levels where she is so happy. I don't think Violet was unhappy, but she is so happy in this new environment. She feels so fulfilled. I think being 16 for a certain personality, certainly my personality, and I mean, I'm learning hers, is just so empowering because you have more independence, you answer less to people, you've got a lot more freedom. Like if these girls are vaping now, I can't really say anything about it. I no longer look in the phone. Up until 16, I'd still have the password, but I would do spot checks of the phone. I think post 16, you might disagree, but I don't do that anymore. I do not tolerate any vaping by anyone in the house, but you know what? I'm not going to follow her into London and check her handbag. And that's, it's a good feeling to start becoming an adult. And her peers are great. And she's just so bright and cheerful and helpful at home. And I thought it would go the other way. I really thought the older and cooler she gets, she'll spend less time with us and spend less time with the babies and become more annoyed by them. But she was all in with me this weekend. She was like, yes, let's do something. I said, Saturday, let's take the kids to Soho Farmhouse. Well, they didn't have any cabins for families on a Saturday. They really limit the number of cabins that they will offer a family. And then I was like, okay, let's take the kids to Four Seasons, New Hampshire. And Violet was like, well, that's a bit far. And like, do we need to do this whole escape? And then I thought about it a little bit more. And I said, okay, how about Legoland? Because we had never been. It's in Windsor, which on a good day is like a 45-minute drive from us. It ended up being about an hour and 10 minutes. And I reached out and I noticed on the website that Legoland have a VIP option, which I will tell you, full disclosure, the cost. You can see the cost on the website. It's high, but it includes a host to tour you around the park, and then you don't have to wait in any queues. And that is almost priceless. And they have to charge a lot for that because if it was reasonably priced, everyone would do it and then there would be queues. So if you've got small children, and this is the trouble with a theme park. I have slagged off theme parks in the past. And I think that is no slight against the theme park. It's just a clash of needs. Like, I don't want to be in chaotic environments where there's nothing but fried food and too many people. And like parents smoking or vaping bothers me, and parents yelling at their children or I think like emotionally abusing their children, that bothers me. Naughty kids bother me. Like I like to take my kids to kid places, but I don't like being in the kid places. Like I don't understand why you can't have like a very high-end luxury, calm, nice kids place where everybody agrees not to like drink or smoke or yell at their spouse. I don't understand why we can't do that, but I've yet to find it. And Legoland, I mean, it was great for the kids. They did love it. I think that I also take my kids too soon to things. Like part of why we didn't enjoy Disneyland more is because the kids were like 2 and 3. And part of why we didn't maybe enjoy Legoland a little bit more is, again, the kids are like 90 centimeters. So there's only a small selection of rides that they can go on. And then are you really getting the value of the VIP pass if you're not going on the big rides? I mean, we basically were in like Duplo Village. And it was a wonderful day. And I cannot fault our VIP hosts. We actually got 2 of them, Robin and Holly, who we loved, who had like great knowledge about the park. And they were always offering to go get us snacks. I had 2 slushies. They were like, we'll push the buggy if you want. We'll watch your buggy if you want. They couldn't have been lovelier. But guys, for 1,300 pounds, yeah, it's just kind of an expensive afternoon. There were no shows on either. Because I looked on the website and they have kind of a spectacle in the middle of Legoland, but that was closed right now because they're rehearsing for their new Halloween one. We went on a submarine. They really loved the Lego mini village, which you don't need a VIP host for anyway, because you just kind of amble around and look at amazing things that the Lego masters have built. It was really cool, but even buying Lego is expensive. Lego's expensive, so Legoland is going to be really expensive. It was a great experience. I don't know how kids' theme parks work with the queuing, because nobody's child wants to queue. Nobody's child understands queuing. Nobody's child has the patience for it. So you either go and listen to them cry all day and go limp-bodied in the queue, and then maybe you've queued for an hour, you get to the end of the ride and they don't want to go on it now. Hell. Or you spend 1,300 pounds and you have a great day, but you look in the rear view and you go, did I just spend 1,300 pounds to go on a mini log flume? Yeah, I did. But it was a great day. I will not be telling Bobby how much Legoland cost. But it was great. I would recommend going with children who are going to pay the regular ticket price and have the patience to queue a little bit, or maybe go for a few days so that you can do some of the rides and relax. We went to this one sit-down restaurant, which the VIP girls reserved a table for us, and that was great. We didn't have to queue. People kind of look at you hatefully when you walk past the queue, though, and I just feel like telling them, you are smarter than I am. You have 1,300 pounds and I don't. But anyway, and the restaurant was called Pizza and Pasta. And I was like, okay, that's what kids like. But we went in and the girls were like, do you have any dietary requirements? I said, yeah, I can't eat pizza or pasta, but that's fine. I brought loads of snacks for the kids and the kids like that. And I ate some of their Baby Bells. But I sat down and I looked at the salad bar. They had a really nice salad bar that had loads of veg and coleslaw and gherkins, my favorite. But it was buffet style. And I just thought, I looked over at that salad bar and it was very well kept. The people who worked there were keeping it nice and fresh and changing over the ingredients. But I looked at the salad bar traffic and the types of very young, very sneezy clientele who were getting their salad together. And I just thought, absolutely not. I guarantee I would be sick if I ate anything from that salad bar. I know it. And I just can't risk it in this pregnancy. The only time I've ever had food poisoning, and people always tell you, stay away from raw fish, da-da-da-da-da. You are more likely to get food poisoning from lettuce, commercial lettuce, than anything else that you can order. And I would have loved salad from the salad bar, but instead I just stared at it and felt afraid. Nope. No. What did we do Sunday? We swam. We just had the nicest weekend, and I'm working a little bit less, though not this week. I'm out and about. I have different things going on in Birmingham. I have a little bit of Real Housewives of London research to do. Have you been watching the Real Housewives of London on HeyYou? If you don't have HeyYou or you don't think you have HeyYou, you might through your Amazon Prime membership, or you can get it through their, different interfaces for accessing different shows. I know it's complicated. There are many streamers now, but I love HeyYou. There's so much good stuff on HeyYou. I love the Real Housewives franchise, and I am so excited to be hosting the Real Housewives of London reunion soon. I think that we are episode 6 aired last night? Monday, September 22nd. Was that episode 6 or 7? There are 10, and it just spices up and up and up from here. So it's not too late to dive in. If you have not watched episodes 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, you can bash those out in a couple of nights, and it is worth it. It's worth it. We have waited so long to get Real Housewives of London. London is the capital of wealth and fashion and opulence and poshness. And the specific way that some of these women speak to each other is just so quintessentially British. You won't get it from any other housewives show. So London is special. My algorithm knows that I think men are killers. And that's why I got off X, formerly known as Twitter. And I don't feel that I seek out this material, but I've seen it and no one else is talking about it in the UK. And this is another reminder to never trust a man with numbers in his name. It's another day, another open case of horrific femicide gripping the American news. Rapper David, I think you say it David, it's D4 VD. Real name David Anthony Burke, so we're going to call him just David for the sake of this news item. He's under investigation after, trigger warning all over this. Trigger warning. The body of a 15-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas, was found in his impounded car on September 8th. Initially starting out as a gamer on YouTube, David became well known after releasing the 2022 songs Here With Me and the very auspiciously named Romantic Homicide, which both became viral songs on TikTok. Over the next 3 years, he released 2 EPs, performed as an opening act for SZA, and earned some awards that meant something in the viral content space. On September 8th, 2025, the Los Angeles Police Department investigated an impounded Tesla, which had been reported abandoned in the Hollywood Hills for about a month after someone complained of a foul odor. Authorities later said they found the body wrapped inside of a bag and estimated the body was placed in the trunk of the car 5 days before it was impounded. Would you believe who this car was registered to? David D4VD of Hampstead, Texas, which is where he's from, by the way. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner identified the remains as those of Celeste Rivas, a 15-year-old from nearby Lake Elsinore who was reported missing in April of last year. So this young woman was missing for a year and a half before her body was placed in this car, and she's been dead in the car for a month. So what has been happening to her for the last year and a half? So a year and a half ago, by the way, what age was she? 14, 13 and a half? And he's in his 20s, I think. He's an adult anyway. Okay. Investigators have not released any information on whether or not David and Rivas had any sort of connection. And in between tour dates, he's apparently cooperating fully with this investigation. However, the medical examiner identified Rivas as having a tattoo that read "shh" on her right index finger. Meanwhile, a photo of David from September 2024 shows him having a "shh" tattoo on his right index finger. Authorities have not yet addressed the seemingly matching tattoos. I thought they did have photos together. And I also thought that this romantic homicide, you never know with the internet, but I thought the name Celeste was in some of these songs. How old is he? And look at this, victim blaming. I haven't read it yet, but the Economic Times have written, was Celeste pregnant? And did she lie about her age? These two questions are at the heart of the David Tesla controversy. How are these two questions at the heart of the controversy? There is a dead woman in a man's boot who's been decomposing for a month. And I say woman, she's a child. Did she lie about her age or not? I mean, you can find out someone's age. The case began when the remains of this teenager were discovered inside a Tesla. Since then, online discussions have centered around whether she was pregnant, whether she lied about her age, and what connection the musician might have had with her. Social media users are divided. Some demanded to know why David has not been charged despite evidence connecting him to the case. Others believe the singer is innocent and claim he did not know her real age. Supporters argue that she told him she was 19, and theories suggest she might have been pregnant. How is any of this relevant? Police have not confirmed these claims. Her mother also confirmed that Celeste had a boyfriend named David. But one viral video claims there may be 2 different women named Celeste involved. The first is Celeste Rivas, who is the 15-year-old deceased child with the shush tattoo found in his trunk. The second woman is named Celeste Herrera, age 23, who interacted with David on social media and shares a strong resemblance with this deceased child. The video suggested David may have been involved with both women and raised questions about whether he sought a substitute after losing contact with the younger Celeste. Fans continue to argue online, some insisting that Celeste and David were dating. Photos and videos have surfaced showing the two together. Reports also suggest that Celeste sometimes shared clothes with the singer. Celeste's mother admitted that her daughter often fled home and might have stayed with David. Some conspiracy theories suggest that Celeste wanted to become a singer just like him, but these claims remain unconfirmed, and the final events leading to her death unclear. A report stated that when Celeste went missing in 2024, her mother received a call telling her not to look for Celeste and that she was safe, and then no further communication followed. Her remains were found in the Tesla on September 8th, but the body had decomposed, so police confirmed she died earlier, and the exact time of death is unknown. What remains unanswered? Was she pregnant? Did she lie about her age? She's a dead child in the back of a man's Tesla. Oh shit, found this news item.
You, as far back as October of 2022, when Celeste Rivas Hernandez was just 12. Let me repeat, 12 years old.
This is them interacting on a Discord chat.
David, the singer, was 17 and taking part in a group chat with his fans on Discord. And in the chat, he wrote, "Celeste in here?" To which someone named Celeste replied, "Hi, David, bark." The two seemed familiar with each other, which means if this really was Celeste Rivas Hernandez in the chat, whose birthday was September 7th, they may have actually connected when she was only 11. Fast forward, December 2023, a demo of a love song by David leaks out online, and the name of the demo song is Celeste. Days later, on January 11th, 2024, David appears on a live stream with a girl who looks an awful lot like Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The girl tells him, "We need to delete this." David tells the moderators, quote, "Mods, can we delete all vids? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?" The following month, February 2024, Celeste Rivas Hernandez goes missing for the first time before returning home. February 26, 2024, David posts something on TikTok and another user comments, and I quote, "Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl." A month later, March 28th, 2024, David's fans discuss rumors that he's dating someone, and one of the fans writes, "Yeah, her name is Celeste." April 5th, 2024, Celeste Rivas Hernandez is reported missing. Her brother says she was going to the movies that day with someone named David.
All right. And then people want to get all up on me for discouraging younger women. And in this case, it's not even a woman, it's very much a child. And these could all be coincidental reports from like social media, whatever. But I mean, it looks bad, obviously. The authorities have said nothing, but will they be saying anything? Because it is a young Hispanic girl who is probably, deemed by them to be in a low socioeconomic bracket, a risk. They're already blaming her, being like, well, maybe she was pregnant, maybe she lied, maybe she takes drugs. She said she was safe, she disappeared. Like, the reality is ethnic minority women are reported about and are searched for less than, Natalie Holloway. Like a beautiful blonde girl goes missing at a resort and it's front page news. You just don't know if you're going to be the missing woman who's front page news or if you're going to be the many, 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 many missing women who just like fall through the cracks. And an older man, so he's 20 now. At the time, it sounds like he was 17, 18, speaking to like an 11 or 12-year-old. Plus, he's famous. It's just, this is the issue with an imbalance of power. I think your children, your sisters, your friends, if they are having some pedo pick them up from school and you think it's cool because he's like a TikTok star and he's 18, 19, it's not cool because she's already in a much more vulnerable position to be led astray, to disconnect from her family, to be controlled, to disappear, to be murdered. Like, whatever happened to this girl has to be connected to him in some way, whether he did it or not. And by the way, of course, I think he had a lot of involvement, but it is odd that he hasn't been charged. So maybe she, and this is like very reminiscent of the R. Kelly stuff, where he had these girls who were isolated from their families. They had no contact with their parents anymore. And then he could kind of do what they want with them. And there are girls who just get traded around or go missing or, sex trafficked. I saw some article on sex trafficking where there are different ways of doing it. And one of the ways is the boyfriend way, where your child might be at a party or in a mall, and a boy comes up, a man, and acts as though he's interested and romantically gets her on side and then starts trafficking her. Who fucking knows? But how did someone have access to his car, which he happily left to be impounded with a decomposing body in it for over a month? I hope we find out. I mean, this is awful. Awful. And I don't hear about it in the UK, but I don't expect to. It's in my algorithm, though, because TikTok knows what boils my blood. Cardi B is not learning anything. She's having another baby, just like me, a fourth baby, which is fine. She's very young and very fertile. And I suppose that her interactions with Offset have not put her off the joy that is creating life, but she has finally extricated herself from what was a terrible relationship. To give you a quick rundown, Offset is a musician. I think he has Dominican background just like her, Afro-Caribbean just like her. They seem to be very like-minded. You would see them, you understand why they're in love. She is not going to be with like some cookie cutter white cardiologist. Like, that's not what she wants. She wants a guy who's in Migos, who's like fun, who's funny, who's flirty. They would go to exotic dancing clubs together and like throw money around. And, Cardi needs a man who's a little bit unhinged like she is. But Offset was way too unhinged for my liking as her personal best friend. And he cheated on her for their entire relationship. Cheated on her from the beginning, through her pregnancies, new babies, till the end. She wrote songs about it. She spoke about it. She tried to collaborate with him. She's like, let's get women together. He said no. Well, he said yes, but then he also went and had women by himself. And she said, well, let's have an open relationship. I can do it too. He said no. No. Continued to cheat on her. And finally, she had enough. Offset really oscillated between like crying online, which I enjoyed, and verbally abusing her, demeaning her, saying things like, I made you a baby mama. Like, he weaponized that term as though it meant she would be unlovable, unwanted, damaged goods. And it's very telling about him that he thinks, well, I reduced you to being a baby mama. I put my ownership on you. I marked my territory. I used your body to create my legacy. Like, you are less than because you fell for that. And that people reenact their own trauma. I don't know what happened with his mother, with him growing up. I don't know what her lifestyle was like or the treatment of that blessed woman. But he learned along the way that it is not a good idea or empowering to be a mother. And that makes me very sad. And there are a lot of men like that. So then finally, like, they're done. And Cardi moves on with an NFL footballer, Steffon Diggs. He plays for the Patriots. I should know this because Bobby and I have been deep into the NFL, but I just learned he plays for the Patriots, which is the team Tom Brady used to play for. And he's really good at football and he has loads of money. But there is a viral video of all his teammates being asked, who would you not want your sister to date on the team? And for men to throw their peer under the bus, he's got to be spectacularly philandering. Like, he's got to be evil, because there are a lot of guys who would just be like, no, I don't know, no one. But each and every one of them was like, Diggs, Steffon Diggs. Like, don't need a minute to think about it, Diggs. I would not want my sister anywhere near Diggs. And so, like, what does that mean? I started thinking, does that mean he's, like the worst case scenario, like really, really bad to these women? Or is he just unfaithful, disloyal? Or does it mean as something as simple as, and this is like really toxic, but this is me trying to get in a man's mind. Men do have a preoccupation with like dicks. Have they just seen him naked in the locker room and he has like a punishing cock? Like, is it just that? Are they just thinking about his dick and being like, I don't want that anywhere near my sister? Like, who knows? But it looks bad. It looks bad for each of them to be like, Diggs, don't want my sister with Diggs, 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 Diggs. Fine. So he's with Cardi, of course. And I think she may have just found more of the same, because it has been reported that he has 2 other women who have just either given birth or who are about to give birth to his babies. Cardi even reacted to this news in an Instagram video where she was making dinner. She's like, oh, well, I'm his, new baby's mother and we'll deal with it and it's fine. I think these pregnancies maybe happened before Cardi and Steffon were official. They've only been together for less than a year. But like, Cardi, you just cleansed yourself of a terrible, terrible man. And one of your children with that terrible man is a baby. And now you're pregnant with another baby. Like, it's fine to date Steffon Diggs, maybe, like, cleanse your palate. But do you need to tether yourself for life to yet another potentially problematic guy? Can you just date these guys and not, have them multiply inside of you? I don't know. But I respect that she retains some optimism and thinks, yeah, I'm going to have another baby and I'm going to work and have a happy family maybe, or maybe not. She can look after her own children herself. She's very successful. I like her new album. Her new album is great because I hadn't heard anything from Cardi in a while that really like pumped me up. And I think this is like my year to get back into Cardi B. 2029, I loved it. And then I spent 5 years having babies and I really lost my way. I wasn't rapping as much as I probably should have been. And now this album is all about what a loser Offset is. And I'm going to be done having babies soon. And I can see myself twerking on the dance floor. I'm excited about that. Oh, in other baby news, Nick Cannon. This was a rare glimpse into some real awareness. In Offset's defense, maybe all of his asshole behavior has been a trauma response, because this is Nick Cannon's news story and he's sticking to it. The actor and television personality made an appearance on The Breakfast Club September 15th when he reflected on his decisions to have a dozen kids, explaining that he hadn't addressed trauma in his early years of fatherhood. I just didn't do the work. So then I looked up 12 years later and I'm like, wow, I could have did things differently. But I stand firm on all my decisions because I love all my kids. I love my family infrastructure, but I know it all started from a place of pain and not really healing properly. When asked whether having his 12 children, whom he shares with 6 different women, was a result of past trauma, Cannon, 44, responded, yes, I'm learning that now. It wasn't like I was acting out. It was more of being careless, being frivolous with my process because I could do it. I had the money. I had access to whoever and however I wanted to move. Oof. Sounds like we're the ones with the trauma having to listen to this right now, but he continues. Now, after going to therapy, he's reflected on his actions and worked on himself to make different life decisions. Being almost 45 now, I could sit back and if I would have thought the process through a little bit more and took time to actually do the inner work, things might have been different in certain scenarios. Specifically, if he had done the work and the healing he needed to do after getting divorced in 2016 from Mariah Carey. When asked if that meant he wouldn't have ended up with 12 kids, he replied, I don't know, because I've always said this. Every child that I had was made out of love, and they were strong relationships. I probably would have took my time in a lot of other scenarios, and for whatever reason, I thought that the answer a lot of times was like, oh, I'm going to figure it out over here. Now you're leaving trauma every step of the way instead of fixing it from its origin. I don't really know. That sentence kind of ran on a bit, but yeah, like I love that he paraded around for a while being like, I'm a super active father. I love all my kids. And then there was this weird video that came out where he didn't know their names, but that video I think might have been a sketch because it was with this funny girl, whose name I think is Billy or Bobby, but I really like her. And, I don't do research on this podcast. I just go from what I know at the time. Billy or Bobby. She's great. And it's like, no one can be a good parent when you've got 12 kids in 6 different homes. It depends on your definition of parenting. Are you paying for them? Seemingly, yes. But how much contact can you have as a working parent when you don't live with any of them and they are spread out in 6 different homes? Like truly, how often was he seeing these kids? I don't even think it would be monthly. Because that would be like at least twice a week. He's dropping by like different houses, and I mean, maybe because he's also still seeing some of the moms, but like he also tours and he's moving around a lot. You're a fun uncle who pays for things. Cannon maintained, however, his view on monogamy, pointing to his unorthodox situation and household he grew up in through childhood. I've always understood that love happens differently, so monogamy has never really been my thing, he said. I'm pretty sure that plays a part in it as well, too. In June, Cannon joked that he was, quote, done having kids after he struggled to name all 12 during this aforementioned interview. At the time, he said on the Really Good podcast that the reason he has so many children was from his king complex. I really think I'm a king, he said, going on to explain that kings need a lot of children to pack their courts. I mean, I am Katherine Ryan, the queen maker. Perhaps I have a queen complex. I don't think it's the same. I don't have a bunch of like chambermaidens or ladies in waiting or wet nurses looking after my kids the way King Nick Cannon has with all of these women who choose to have relationships and families with him. I just don't think it can be true in the same way for women. And I like that Nick Cannon's talking about it. I actually love it a lot because I think that there will be many men who behave like this, either in one family or across multiple families, the way Nick Cannon has done, where they're just like, yes, I would like to further my legacy. And they don't have to think about the implications of parenthood from there. There are really responsible hands-on dads. There are really responsible dads who work hard to give their children a balanced life, and they provide and they're kind to their children's mothers and they collaborate with her. There are loads of men like that, but there are also men who just view women and children as acquisitions and as a numbers game. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of Telling Everybody Everything. You can write me an email, tellingeverybodyeverything@gmail.com, with any comment you might have about the podcast, any questions, anything at all that you would like to share. And we didn't do those today, but we will do some next week. Also, watch out for season 2 of my other podcast, What's My Age Again, where we look into biological age and ways to lower that, ways to hack that, along with our resident scientist, Dr. Nicola Conlon. We're launching series 2 on September 30th. That is next week, with huge guests like Katie Piper, Jamila Jamil, G.K. Barry, Rosie Jones, Alan Davis. It's a big, big series, and it's going to be so much fun. Lots of good interviews there. I also have a filthy podcast that is very difficult to promote on socials because of the restrictions, exclusively on TikTok. But it's where 2 comedians join me to write erotic fan fiction about each other. And it's really funny, but on the surface, I think it gets kind of shadow banned because it seems like it's porn. It's not. It's written by comedians with very awkward and hilarious results. That podcast is called Write Me Dirty. I hope that you're watching NFL stuff at home. I love watching the NFL explode in the UK. Bobby and I are going to go to a game very soon, and we're excited about that. Also watch out for Real Housewives of London Reunion, hosted by me, and my stand-up special coming out this Christmas. Please look after each other. See you soon.